This is the Ms.FitVegan Podcast, episode 561. You need to know your triggers. You need to become self-aware in 2024 because the key to everything you want is simply just awareness. Awareness. Just now, I stood up for myself, okay? So I was in a meeting and didn't like what was going on. And, for about 38 years, I have not stood up for myself. I know that it seems like I might have a lot of confidence and I can easily speak my truth and stand up for myself, especially when it's negotiations and when it's money's involved and whatever, right? Business. But the truth is that no, I don't have a lot of experience standing up for myself and negotiating, and it's very unnatural to me. So I said something in the meeting to stand up for myself, and it wasn't really respected. And so after the meeting, I text the person further explanation and negotiation. Okay. And so I said they can call me. It's very late. It's around 11 o'clock, but we just got off the meeting. It was like a 3-hour meeting. And they can call me tomorrow. We can discuss this. Or they can text me back. And I'm only sharing this with you guys because I'm sorry I'm being so vague, but it's private information and, it's not something I can share publicly, unfortunately. But I need you to know what's going on in my body. And it is 11 o'clock at night, and I'm very, very hungry now. I had a dinner, I had a big, big salad. I even had an ice cream after the salad. Like, I was so hungry when I got home. I've had enough food for the day. I had grapes, I had oranges, I had can't even remember. I had a big papaya for breakfast, lots of bananas today. The reason why I'm hungry now is because I am very, very, very uncomfortable speaking up for myself. And if you are also uncomfortable speaking up for yourself, then if you are a food addict or you've had binge eating disorder in the past, then you probably most likely get very hungry when you have certain triggers, when you have anxiety, when you feel fear, when you feel scared of, when you feel uncomfortable, when you feel out of your comfort zone, when you feel lonely or bored or happy. Everyone's different. There's so many emotions. There are so many reasons: depressed, feeling guilty, feeling lonely, feeling isolated, feeling empty, vulnerable, powerless, victimized, ashamed, ignored, inferior, overwhelmed, frightened, devastated, jealous, when you feel violated, when you feel, I'm sure I said angry, but becoming aware of why and when you feel these things, it's the key to you breaking your food addiction. And now I don't have a food addiction anymore. I don't have an addiction to processed foods anymore. It's not even food. Okay. So you cannot be addicted to fruit and vegetables. But what happens is it's just an old neural pathway that was formed in my brain when I was 13. I think I told you guys, but my food addiction started when I was going to foster care for the last time at 13 years old. And I told you guys, but you're probably new here. And maybe you didn't listen to all fucking goddamn 600 episodes. I locked myself in the bathroom. The social workers, they had to call the police. The police broke down the door. When I got out of the bathroom, my mom was outside the door, standing there. Long story short, standing there with ice cream, and she kept shoving it in my face because she was like, I don't know if they're going to feed you where you're going. You have to eat this. You have to eat this. And then they told me to get a garbage bag, put my shit in a garbage bag, and we had to go to a new foster home, right? And so that's the very short version of that. But long story short is that's when my eating habits formed of, like, if I'm stressed, if I'm scared, I eat. That makes me feel better, especially ice cream and sweets, chocolate, anything that, like ice cream was like my number one. And thank God for an ice cream. But the point is that right now I want to eat. I just want to eat because I feel so uncomfortable with what I just did, which is stand up for myself. And why do I feel uncomfortable standing up for myself and speaking my truth and not just letting it go when I feel disrespected, when I feel undervalued? Because I have no or very little experience doing the opposite, speaking up for myself, standing up for myself. I was also told as a kid that you're not allowed to speak back. You're not allowed to stand up for yourself. And when you did, you got beaten. You got hit. So of course I was trained like a dog, okay, to every time I even thought about speaking up or saying no, or saying you can't talk to me like that, you can't do that to me, you can't hit me, then I would get hit even more. I would get beat even more. I would get my toys thrown away. I would get punished. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to what I'm saying. So it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to heal. What happened to you is not your fault, but it's your responsibility to now turn that motherfucking ship around and start doing things that are very uncomfortable. And when you do start doing things that are very uncomfortable, like standing up for yourself, speaking up for yourself, when you feel disrespected, when you feel angry, when you feel something's unfair, I don't care if it is unfair or not. I don't care if you're justified or not. It's your feelings, and your feelings are valid. Did you know that? Every single feeling you have is valid, even if you misinterpreted something. Okay, then they need to explain it in a way that makes you feel satisfied. You deserve respect. And when you start to demand it and tell people in a nice kind way, you don't have to be an asshole, but when you start demanding respect, that's when you'll get it. And that's when you'll also start feeling very uncomfortable, and you'll start feeling hungry, and you'll start feeling like this is wrong. I should not do this. I'm going to get hit. I'm going to get punished. I'm going to get fired. But the truth is that you're just feeling that way because it's not familiar. You're not comfortable yet standing up for yourself. And if you keep giving in to the cravings that hit when you feel uncomfortable, when you're doing something against your training, then you'll never break free of that. So right now I am hungry, even though I've eaten enough. And to be honest, there's lots of food in this house that I could eat. You know, there's lots of fruit, but there's also lots of junk food. My roommate bought this vegan oat milk chocolate bars today, cookies, cakes, cereals. Like, there's stuff in the house that I could just binge on that would bring me a lot of comfort. I haven't eaten this stuff in over 13 years, so I'm likely not going to eat that. But if I wasn't recording this podcast, honestly, I might make a very large bowl of ice cream, and I don't need that because it's 11 o'clock at night and I've eaten enough. But the only reason I'm hungry right now is because of what I did, because of this text that I just sent. And please understand that I wasn't hungry right before. I wasn't hungry seconds before I sent it, before I wrote it. So I know that I'm not really hungry. I've just trained myself that when I get, this is training from fucking 40 years of training. From 13, so not 40 years, but like 30 years, right? Almost. So like when I get upset, when I get uncomfortable, when I start feeling guilty for standing up for myself, when I start doing something very, very, very uncomfortable, I get hungry. And I want to feel better. Because of course, why wouldn't you want to feel better? There's nothing wrong with us. But a lot of us do things to feel better that hurt us. And I'm not doing that anymore. So instead, I'm doing this podcast. So I want to say thank you very, very much for being here and listening to this. And if you can relate to me, then let me know. Send me an email, jd@Ms.FitVegan.com. I don't think you can put comments on this podcast, but yeah, if anybody out there can relate to me, and I know there's millions of people that can, because there's millions of billions of people that are overweight or obese and dealing with food addiction. And we don't eat because of pure hunger. Like, it's not just hunger. Although, if you are not eating raw, then you most likely your body's not working properly. And you're eating things that are completely empty in nutrition. And so, of course, you're going to eat a lot more because your body's wanting vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. And so you're not giving it what it needs. So it keeps sending you signals that you're hungry. You know, when you eat bread, when you eat pasta, when you eat, cereal and things like this, you're not getting any nutrition. So your body, of course, immediately, after a little bit, an hour or so, your body's going to say, okay, we're hungry again because we really needed vitamin C, but there was no vitamin C in that cereal. So hopefully this time you're going to eat some oranges. But instead you buy some orange creamsicle pops at the store and there's no vitamins, minerals, or nutrients in there either. So then your body gets hungry again and your body's like, okay, so we're hungry again and we're craving something salty now because it really needs the minerals and greens. But you don't know that the reason why you're craving salt is because you're actually low in minerals. And you need the greens, you need the sodium in the greens. Instead, you get some chips and there's no sodium, there's no real nutrition in those chips. There's sodium, but it's not like usable sodium. It's unhealthy sodium. There's no minerals in those chips. So then an hour later, you're hungry again and you're hungry again. And it's a horrible, vicious cycle. So getting out of that cycle is key. And that's why I went raw. Okay, when I was 26 years old, I went raw, saved my life. I lost a lot of weight and I healed my skin and all that stuff, but it did not break my food addiction. Okay, what broke my food addiction, it helped me get off the processed foods. So it broke that, but it didn't heal my desire to eat when I feel uncomfortable. So what I did for the first 12 years of being raw is that I just ate. I just ate. Yeah, fruit or vegetables, nuts or seeds, but I just ate and ate and ate and ate and ate. And every time I felt uncomfortable, eat. And then over the past year or two, pretty much the last year, I have been becoming very, very, very aware of when I'm hungry. When I'm hungry, when I'm not really hungry. You know what I'm saying? When I feel hungry, but I'm actually not hungry because it's 11 o'clock and I've eaten enough for the day. I wasn't hungry right before this text that I sent. So I know this is easier said than done. Getting off the processed food is the first thing you do. And then the second thing you do, okay? And it might take 10 years for you too. But the second thing you do is start to really become aware of the triggers. You don't start with the triggers, okay? The first thing you do is get all the processed foods out of your house, out of your workplace, out of your life. You might have to quit your job. You might have to get a divorce. I'm not joking. I am not fucking joking. Yeah, dead ass. Because let me just tell you something right now. If you have a husband or a wife that refuses to help you at this time to break your food addiction to foods that are killing you and making you miserable and giving you diseases, I don't know if you guys are equally yoked. I don't know if you guys are compatible at this point in life. I'm not joking. You might say, oh, but you live with somebody. I'm not married to her, but you live with your best friend and she eats lots of processed foods and stuff. Yeah, because I don't have an issue. I'm not tempted by this food anymore. Okay? If it was a major, major problem, we could not live together. Okay? So you can't have foods in your house that are trigger foods that tempt you, foods that harm you. Because anything I would eat right now would be a fruit or vegetable. Okay? So understand the difference. You need to get off the processed foods. And you need to get them out of your house or find a fucking way. Find a fucking way. You don't have to control what people eat, but you have to control your environment. Your environment is 90% of your success. Thank you very much for listening to this. I feel very, very, very uncomfortable right now. And me being able to record this podcast, it definitely helps. So now I'm aware of it. And if you don't have a podcast, you can call a friend. Okay, that's the first thing I did. I went into Awa's room and I spoke to her about it. Okay. And then the second thing I'm doing is recording this podcast. And if you don't have a friend you can call or a podcast, then get one of each. Okay? Join a club. Join a Toastmasters. Go to your local. There's a Toastmasters in every fucking city of all around the fucking world. Don't you dare make an excuse. Get a friend. Start a podcast. Go to fucking podcasts for Spotifyers or whatever. Spotify for podcasters. I don't know. It was Anchor, but now it changed. Get an app on your phone to do a podcast and talk your shit out instead of constantly self-sabotaging. Because there's nothing worse than saying you want something and doing the exact opposite. And if that's you, if you came into 2024 and you're still doing things that you said you didn't want to do anymore, something has to change. And it's not your willpower or your discipline, it's your fucking routine. Okay? Something has to change. Your environment has to change. What you do when you get fucking stressed has to change. It's you, boo. It's not the food, because the food's always going to be there. The chocolate and the chips and the dips and the fucking, all that shit, the burgers and fries, they're always going to be there. So you cannot blame the food. You have to make the decisions. You have to make the choices. And you have to get all that shit out of your fucking house. And you have to stop putting yourself in positions to be tempted by that food. Going out to eat places where you know there's no fucking food for you. Going to events right now. Maybe you can't go to events right now. Maybe you can't go to the movies if you need to buy popcorn. Bring grapes. But if you can't be at the movies without eating popcorn, then you cannot go to the movies for now. Okay? And just know that if you're also extremely hungry sometimes when you know you're not hungry, if you use food to deal with stress and life and anxiety, then please just know that I absolutely can relate to you. And we got this. We got this. But it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a dog fight, boo. And you're going to have to fight and fight and fight your way out of this addiction. I'm sorry to tell you that, but it's the fucking truth. Food addiction, the most acceptable addiction on this planet. And the easiest one, too. The easiest one, because it's legal. You could do it anywhere. You could stand on a street corner and eat a fucking burger, french fries. You can't do that with crack. You can't really do that with alcohol. Right? I mean, alcohol, yeah, probably, but like, it's not socially acceptable to go to work drunk. But it is socially acceptable to go to work after you've eaten, 3 donuts. Yeah, you were blessed to have a food addiction. You understand me? Because the amount of fucking discipline that you're going to gain, the amount of skills that you are going to foster from breaking this food addiction, it's priceless. On the other side of your obstacles are a million opportunities for you. On the other side of your pain is all of your pleasure, all of your joy. I know it seems unfair sometimes. Why one person, you probably know somebody who can eat whatever they want. They're not addicted. They can have one bite of chocolate. Like my roommate tonight. She had one bite. I cannot. I know you know people that can have a few french fries and they're fine. I know you know people that can eat whatever they want and they're skinny and it's not fair. But they have other challenges. They have other obstacles that you don't have. Okay? So you don't want their life. You want yours because you were put on this earth to overcome your obstacles to get to the other side, which is the life you want. Don't waste the opportunity. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.